Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of STEM with Mr. C. So behind me is the Macau Tower in Macau, China, or more accurately, the Special Administrative Economic Zone of Macau in China. Now over here is bungee jumping off of the top of Macau Tower. Now, if you've never heard of bungee jumping, it's an extreme sports activity where a person jumps from a really high while connected to a large elastic cord called a bungee cord. Now, the thrill of this comes from the free fall, and then almost hitting the ground, and then having that cord stretch and then snap back up, so then you rebound up, and then you fall back down, and then you rebound up, and then you fall back down, and so on and so on. Until all of the kinetic energy is dissipated or goes away. Now, a lot of people bungee jump off of different things, but the Macau Tower bungee jump is the highest commercial, meaning like that is legitimate and you can pay for, in the world, meaning you can jump from a height of 764 feet or 233 meters. Yeah, that's pretty tall. Now, before too many of us get worried, right, we're not going to be bungee jumping today for STEM, okay? Number one, most importantly, we just don't have a lot of time, right? I don't have time to take 500 of you up bungee jumping. No, I'm kidding. Most importantly is safety considerations, right? You do have to be 18 to do this, and it is an extreme sport. I personally have never been bungee jumping, though I have been skydiving twice, and it's a lot of fun. But we're gonna do the next best thing. We are going to have our action figures do some bungee jumping for us. That's right, I have Batman.
What are you? I'm Batman.
And AP is gonna be joining us later, and he decided to choose Sami Zayn of WWE Fandom.
Sami Zayn is here.
So we are gonna test our bungee cords. We are gonna make bungee cords out of rubber bands, and we're gonna see who can get closest to the ground without actually hitting the ground. Because if you would fall from a great height and you hit the ground, yeah, that's generally not a good thing. So that's why we're gonna test it with action figures, okay? Now this lesson is all about potential and kinetic energy, right? We've discussed it before, but now we're gonna learn two types of potential energy called gravitational, as in gravity, gravitational potential energy, and elastic potential energy, as in stretching rubber bands, for example. Now, I'm not gonna tell you, I wanna give you a disclaimer here, right? As in a disclaimer, as in just a warning. This is a challenge, okay? So my measurements and the amount of rubber bands and the height that we use are gonna be different than yours, okay? I'm also not gonna tell you the best or the optimal way to do this until the very, very end, okay? Because this is a challenge. I want you, when you are faced with the problem, can you solve this? Can you critically work your way through this using the materials you have, using what you know? I'm gonna show you how to measure and do all that, but anything after that, you gotta figure it out on your own until we get to the end, okay? So AP is gonna be joining us, and we're gonna do two bungee jumps, right? We're gonna do an easy one from inside, and then we're gonna go outside and then do this off the roof, right? Just because this can be a lot of fun. Okay, so for this lesson, you're going to need an action figure or two. So I decided to choose Batman. I like Batman. A lot of rubber bands. How many rubber bands? I don't know, a lot, right? You need a lot. I don't know how many you need because it all depends on how high and how heavy your action figure is. Okay, you are gonna need a tape measure because if you're obviously measuring something over a foot or 3 feet, you're gonna need something really tall to measure. You're gonna need a really long tape measure to measure something really tall, okay? You're gonna need a pencil and paper to log your results because good scientists, or in this case, we're gonna be physicists, because this is a physics problem, we need to figure out how many rubber bands it takes, what's the optimal or the best number of rubber bands to get our action figure closest to the ground, okay? So, hey, that's fantastic. If you guess 15 rubber bands and your action figure gets that close off the ground, fantastic. But I guarantee you it's probably not gonna happen. It's gonna take a few tries. Okay, I think we got everything. AP, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, he's ready to go. So we are going to get our supplies ready, and then we are going to do a little bit of bungee jumping. Okay, folks, so we're gonna get Batman set up here. And so we're gonna do his bungee cord around his ankles, right? You'll see some that go around the chest, but definitely we're gonna do the ankles, so he, you know, boop, goes down like that. So first thing we need to do is like basically rig up his little bungee thing here on his legs. So we're gonna tie 2 rubber bands together, all right? So what we'll do, I have my 2 rubber bands, okay? And we can zoom in really tight here, because this can be a little tricky. So what we do is we put 1 rubber band over the other, right? So this is my left, this is my right. Obviously it's flip-flop for you, okay? I'm going to, the one that's under, or you can even see over, under, I'm gonna pull this slightly. I'm just gonna grab this with my hand, the under, right? So this rubber band is under, okay? I'm gonna grab this, and then I'm going to lift this side up just so I can grab the other rubber band, right? And then all I'm gonna do is pull. Perfect. So now we have 2 rubber bands tied together, and now we're going to loop this around Batman's his ankles. So a number of ways you can do this. You basically want this tight enough so it doesn't slip off, right? Because that would be disastrous for the bungee cord to slip off when he smacks his head, right? That would be, and then we would lose. So however you want to do this, I'm going to show you how I do it. All I do is I loop, so now it's around his legs, and then you can just twist. So here we go. Put it in frame here. Take this, twist, and then go around his legs, okay? And I'm gonna move this over, and then you're just gonna keep doing this, and you can do this however you want. That's one method. I'm gonna twist again, twist, and loop, all right? So these are pretty small, like medium-sized rubber bands, so I'm not too worried about this slipping off, right? And you can test it, right? Obviously, I'm gonna pull it really hard, and that's pretty hard, right? So and it's starting to slip a little bit. I'm not worried about it. It's not like he's gonna be falling from 1,000 feet. Yeah. And he's not that heavy, so I'm not terribly worried. But you can see I got a lot of slack in this one, so I can easily just, slack as in just, I have a lot of elasticity here, and so I can just twist that and do one more. And there we go. So I'm confident that Batman is not gonna go anywhere. Our Caped Crusader is not gonna go anywhere. Okay, once you have that set up on your action figure, right, it may look different than mine. You don't have to do it around the ankle. Do it around the hips if you want. I don't care. But just understand that will affect your measurements. All right, so then we're gonna go to our desk now and we're gonna do some measurements. So don't go anywhere. Come along with me, take your action figure. You may do it from a desk, a balcony. I don't know where you're gonna do it from, somewhere high. And let's get going. All right, hey everybody. So we're at our first testing site here, otherwise known as a desk. And so I already have Batman. He's already got his little bungee rig up. So here he is, right? Pretty cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure the height, right? So from the floor to the top of this, where Batman is gonna stand. Come on, Batman.
What about Sammy?
Well, they will, right? So, and we put Sammy up there. So AP's already done his, right? So I'm gonna show you the best way that I do this. So there we go, right? Sammy will stand there. So let's measure the height real quick, okay?
Don't fall, Sammy.
So we have a height of, looks like 27 3/4 of an inch. So let's go ahead and get the zoom in right there. 27 3/4 of an inch. That's the height of the desk to the floor. Okay. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to hypothesize or guess how many rubber bands you need to get your action figure from here down to here without touching the ground, okay? Now, there's a couple things that are gonna come into play. Obviously, we measured the height, okay? Something else we can do is we can measure the weight. Now, that's gonna be important later, but if you do have a scale, I would recommend using it because that is gonna be a way we can actually calculate information at the end of this, right? But for now, you can just say, yeah, Batman's pretty heavy. I mean, this dude's pretty solid, okay? Sammy's pretty light. So if he's heavy, do you think he's gonna need more or less rubber bands? Okay, I don't know. You tell me. Sammy's lighter, so is he gonna need more or less rubber bands, right? What do you think? What happens if you're heavy? What happens to the rubber bands, right? Does it stretch more or stretch less? And that's a question for you. And you can actually put that in Seesaw, or you can put that in my exit ticket if you do Google Classroom grade 3 through 5. Okay, so now I'm thinking about how many rubber bands I'm gonna need. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I think, well, looking at this, I'm gonna try 8 rubber bands. Okay, I'm gonna try 8 rubber bands. So I'm gonna tie my rubber bands together, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna have to show you the over-under thing only because we're not gonna add Batman to the bungee just yet, right? We already added this one loop here, right? And that's just like a way to attach him to it, right? So we have to remember, like, this is gonna be 1, right? So we already have 1 bungee on here, okay? So if I said 8, how many am I gonna have to come up with? Probably 7. So let's go ahead and add 7 rubber bands. Same way, you're gonna have to do the over-under. So put 1 rubber band over, 1 under. I grab the under rubber band. I push the over into the loop, and then I pull. So now I have 2, okay? And now from here, all you have to do is, you don't have to do the over-under anymore. I've already started this. So now watch this. I put this one on top, put my double rubber band on top. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one through. And now I'm just gonna tuck it into this loop. And boom. Now I know this may be a little difficult to see, right? This isn't terribly, like, it's not one of these things that you just do, but definitely give it a try, right? So I have 3, and now we're gonna keep going. Okay, so I have 7 rubber bands. Remember, I have my 8th one here just to attach to Batman, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rubber bands. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this over to our desk. Now we're gonna see if, there we go. Oh, get back a little bit. All right, now we're gonna see if my rubber band reaches to the bottom, right? Now, I don't want it, do I want it to reach all the way to the bottom? Okay, here's my rubber band right there. Okay, do I necessarily want this rubber band to be touching the floor? I don't know, you tell me. I don't think so, because if it reaches all the way to the floor, remember this rubber band is elastic, all right? So it's gonna shoot up. Okay, so I have 7 rubber bands here, and then I have my 8th one attached to Batman. Okay, so let's go ahead and tie it to Batman. Okay, so I finessed that there, just tied a little knot. So now I have 8 rubber bands. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we have the one around his ankles. I'm not counting that because that's just securing it right there. Okay, AP, how many did you use for Sami Zayn?
Well, I used Well, including this one. 1, 2.
You gotta count it down here so they can see.
Okay. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you use 6 rubber bands.
Including this one.
Okay, so now,
Tie.
yeah, so he's got his tie there, so yeah, we have 6. Now I'll notice, right? So this one's a little bit bigger than the rest of these, right? So, and that's just because we, started out with this. I would recommend, to get the best results, be consistent with your rubber bands, or don't, and it's just gonna kind of be a little more difficult to guess. So now, we made our guesses. I said 8, and then Sami Zayn said 5.
No, Batman said 8.
Batman said 8, Sami Zayn said 5, so now we're gonna look up here.
Here's Batman.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead, and we're gonna put, my finger is right here,
Still Batman.
okay, right here, and then we're gonna test them out. We're gonna see, let's get our tape measure here.
I think it's 21.
Okay, why don't you, you're gonna hold the tape measure and we're gonna see how close, this right there, we'll see how close Batman gets to the ground. Maybe he hits the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here we go. In 3,
2,
2,
1.
1, and...
Ooh!
Ouch, town population, you, bro.
Oh, a resounding, I didn't even have time to just even stretch.
There you go.
So clearly,
8 is way too
8 is way too many. Okay, let's try Sami
5.
Zayn.
Try 5.
So yeah, 8 was an abject failure. Okay, Sami Zayn's ready. Okay, and the finger goes right here on the edge. And 3, 2, 1.
Ooh!
A little touch, right?
It was like,
a little bit, so we need to adjust a little bit. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna take some rubber bands off. I'm gonna take a lot off. AP could probably get away with taking 1 off. So we're gonna come back and then we're gonna show you our measurements. All right, we're back, and I made some adjustments to Batman.
a lot.
A lot, he's quite heavy. So I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 rubber bands. So I went from 8 and I cut it in half to 4, only because, man, that dude hit the ground hard. So I put fail. AP, right, he had 5, and I put an almost because his head just went, doop. So AP, I went from 8 to 4, and what do you go?
Yeah.
What'd you go to? How many do you have now?
5 to 4.
5 to 4.
Well, 6 to 5.
Oh, let me see.
because
1,
having-
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you had 6. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I wasn't counting the.
you gotta count the other one. Okay, so AP started with 6, went to 5. I'm going from 8 to 4. So let's have Batman.
Big change.
Big change. We'll see what happens.
Come on, Batman,
I'm
you
putting
got this.
finger right here. And 3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Not bad. Not as bad.
Did it again.
Still did it again. Okay, so 4 is not much of a fail. Let's see how well Sami Zayn does.
Sami Zayn's are also lighter.
Okay, so finger right at the edge.
Right at the edge.
Okay, 3.
Ooh!
Ooh, let's look at the slow motion replay.
Almost!
Wow, well done.
Yeah!
All right, let's make a quick adjustment because Batman, he needs to stop hitting his head.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take 1 off. We're gonna go from 4 to 3. Come on, Batman. Apparently, Lucius Fox, who makes Batman's stuff, did not do it very well. All right, so now what we're gonna do,
Oh, Sammy gets so close.
All right.
Hitting. He's like right there.
so let's do them together. Let's do Sami Zayn and Batman together.
Da, 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 da,
So I went from 4 to 3. Make sure and write it down. Okay. Perfect. So here we go. And look, it doesn't have to be fancy. This is how I do it. Batman, 8 rubber bands, fail. 4, almost. Sammy, 6, almost. 5, happy face, right? Now we're gonna measure this later using our slow motion. But obviously, if you have a parent, you can look at it and go, it's about 1 or 2 inches or whatever. Okay, here we go. Batman and Sami Zayn. In 3, 2, 1. Wow.
Nice.
All right, it looks like we found,
slow-mo.
we'll see the slow-mo.
Got
Looks
it.
like we found our sweet spot there. Batman, we saved your life. Thank goodness. Wow. All right, now comes the big test. We're gonna do this outside, and it's gonna be a lot taller than 27 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
So wherever you're doing this from, if you're doing it outside over a balcony or something, please, please, please
Be safe.
be safe, be careful.
And don't tie rubber bands to yourself, kind of.
Yeah, don't do that. Make sure your parents are with you if you're gonna do it from high. Now, if you're doing it from the top of your bunk bed, you know, whatever, that's fine. But anything higher than that, definitely parental supervision. And that goes for you too, 5th graders. All right, let's go outside. All right, hey, what's up, guys? Mr. C here, AP, come on over. So we figure we found something pretty high, and we're gonna do it right off of here. So it's not super high, right? It's not like 760 feet like the Macau Tower is, but we're gonna measure this, and you're gonna see there obviously is gonna be a difference in how many rubber bands we use. Now, AP, what do you think? Are we gonna use more or less?
More, a lot more.
We're gonna have to use a lot more, but remember, Mr. C overestimated with Batman. I used 8 inside, and he smacked his head on the floor, which did not work well for Batman, right? So we're gonna measure this. So let's go ahead and measure this right now. So it looks like we're at 100 inches. 100 inches, which comes out to 8 feet, 4 inches. So we're gonna be dropping our action figures from 8 feet, 4 inches. Okay, now again, we're doing this, but safety is a concern, okay? So we've got a ladder here. I'm a trusted adult, right? He's gonna go up with me,
I'm a trusted kid.
but we have to be safe while we're doing this. So first thing, remember, don't just start throwing rubber bands on there. You've got to guess, okay? Make a hypothesis. How many rubber bands do you think? Okay, we can use some math here. From 27 inches, Batman needed, what, 4?
Yeah, he
Or no, 3, right?
3.
Yeah. So for 27 inches, Batman needed 3 rubber bands,
And
okay?
Sami Zayn needed 5.
Sami Zayn needed 5. So now we're at 100 inches. We can do some simple math here. We can say, okay, well, 27 inches, Batman needed 3, and then just count up. So I'm gonna make a guess, 2, 4, 6. I'm gonna say Batman needs 10 rubber bands.
Oh,
Okay?
boy.
10 rubber bands is gonna keep him safe. What's your guess there, AP? He's already started doing his, he already made his guess, but what do you think? How many?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
So 12.
I got 12.
How many did I say? I said 9?
Yeah, no, you said 10.
I said 10, so I said 10. AP said 12. All right, so we're gonna put our rubber bands together, our bungee, and then we're gonna come back to you. Okay, we made a slight change here. We taped it down, and it's actually not 100 inches. It's actually about 99 inches. I know, so like 1 inch, right? Which
Big difference.
it could make a big difference in whether Batman and Sami Zayn survive or not. So we're gonna zoom in right here on the, like the 1 foot area. You don't really need to see us up there. I mean, if you want, great, but we're gonna zoom in right there and you can actually see how close we're gonna get. We're gonna start with Batman. Let's see how, what I said 10? 10, let's see if Batman can survive 10. Here you go, can you hold the GoPro? Or hold my, so we're gonna put him right here at the edge. It's a little bit wet up here, but that's all right. Here we go, Batman jumping off in 3, 2, 1. Woo! He survived. All right, that's all right. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Ooh, a little short. A little short. All right. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what it looked like. Okay, so we made some calculations. So I was pretty close with 10. So now I'm actually gonna go with 12. I'm feeling pretty good about 12. So AP, you had started with how many? Started with 12, he's going to 15. All right, so here goes Batman. Up first. All right, here we go. Batman in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that looked good. Oh, that looked good. Oh, yeah. Champion. Oh, Batman. Awesome. All right, here comes Sandy Zane. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, I didn't even see. So he's still, he's a little bit more. Little bit more. All right. I'm going to add one more to Batman. A lot more to Sammy. I'm going to add one more to Batman. Let's see how close we can get him. All right. So now I had 12. Batman has 13. It's kind of an unlucky number. I'm not feeling so good about Batman here. 12 seemed like the perfect spot, but we're gonna do this in the name of science. For science! All right, or actually this would be physics. So, for physics, in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I heard a little touch. He hit it, I heard it. Not, but yeah, that's still, so 12 is the magic number for Batman. Well done, Batman. Has dialed it up to 20. 2, 1. Oh, cracked his head. So we need to take off one, maybe, yeah, one. So we're gonna take off one rubber band for Sami Zayn. Okay, so I took one off of Batman. AP's at 19. 3, 2, 1. Oh, perfect! $19 is the magic number. Let's test Batman one more time. In 3, 2, 1. Oh! There we go. We found the magic number of rubber bands to do bungee jumping. Let's go downstairs and talk about what we learned. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what happened here with our bungee jumping. Okay, so we discussed potential energy. We defined it at the beginning, but potential energy is just energy that's stored or conserved. You can think of it like it has the potential to do work. Let's take gravitational potential energy, okay? Which means gravity. So I put Batman right here, okay? Now Batman has gravitational potential energy. Because if I let him go, gravity takes over and he falls down. And that gravitational potential energy is then turned into kinetic energy, which is energy from movement, okay? Now, that is gravitational. Elastic potential energy, which is what we also discussed, and that is energy that's stored in objects that can either be stretched, like this, or compressed. Think of it like a spring. Now you can actually test this if you have one of those clicky pens, right? Just unscrew the pen and you'll see a little spring in there, right? So if you compress that, it's called elastic energy, elastic potential energy, because what happens when you let go of that spring? It goes boing. Same thing with my rubber band. Right now I've got a lot of elastic potential energy. And then when I let it go, that elastic potential energy turns into kinetic energy. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot of things going on here, but what you really need to know, right? For my younger students, all you need to know is we can measure energy when someone is up and getting ready to fall. Okay, we can measure that. There's two types of potential energy we learned, gravitational and elastic. Once that person or thing falls, that gravitational potential energy turns into kinetic energy. Awesome. And there we go. So gravitational, and again, if Sami Zayn were to go higher and higher and higher and higher, then obviously the potential energy would increase because he's falling further. Elastic energy, right? Lost that. Energy stored in objects, right? So think of your trampoline that has elastic energy. The more an object can stretch, the more potential energy it has, right? This has a lot of potential energy. So if I were to let it go in front of my face, it's probably gonna hurt. It's gonna snap me in the face, okay? This, I can stretch it a little bit. It has elastic energy, but not that much. Compared to is if I, shot it like this and took someone's eye. Let's see. If I shot it like this, I can hit over here. Ooh. I guess I better get that window replaced. All right, anyway, that's all for now. So again, a lot of information, right? Some of this is just gonna go, whatever. And that's okay, right? It's just exposing you to the different kinds of potential energy, the fact that we can measure these things, really cool, right? Okay, this is me signing off for me and AP. We will catch you next time for some STEM with Mr. C.